He thought the elephant was just standing still. Looking through the binoculars, he was shocked. Elephants have large brains. We don't have any idea how much they know. We only know what we do know by studying and observing. But elephants learn to know what humans are and do, since they observe and learn too, and may associate some humans with good deeds and other humans with bad deeds, like poachers who go in and kill them for their ivory tusks. Still a huge moneymaker in the black market. Sad but true. So it is entirely feasible that an injured elephant who has observed humans may know we have helped other animals, and they may surmise that we can help them too if they're injured and cannot help themselves. It may be a chance they're willing to take in some instances. Clearly, this elephant had been harmed by people, so it's not like he was going to trust just any human. But due to the presence of wildlife rescue groups in that area, I bet he had heard stories from other elephants about those humans who could be trusted. I know it sounds silly, but elephants can communicate with each other, and I've heard of other wild elephants approaching wildlife centers for help with wounds, so I bet the elephant decided to take a chance that he was picking the right human. Crows definitely can tell who has given them food and who has tried to harm them in the past, so I guess an elephant knows that some humans suck, but some are okay. This giant elephant has been suffering from an abscess in a rear for a long time. After hearing about this, wildlife officials immediately acted. Eventually, they spotted an elephant eating on a lawn near the jungle. The poor elephant may have been severely suffering by this abscess. However, getting close to such a big giant without any precaution is dangerous, because even though people try to treat them, the elephants think it's trying to hurt them. So he could charge the offers, thinking that he's in danger. First, they have to calm down and sedate the elephant with anesthetic, which is administered by using a tranquilizer gun. The process is called darting. Don't misunderstand this process as a shooting to the elephant. This is the only way to administer the anesthetic to the body of the elephant. They shot the elephant with a dart gun and tranquilizer gun to administer the anesthetic into the elephant's body, after starting antibiotics treatment. A villager residing near the border of the forest alerted the nearest Center of Department of Wildlife Conservation regarding the distressed elephant. Some villagers have noticed that elephants with severe wounds limping near the forest border. As soon as they got the news, wildlife officers soon departed to search for the elephant. After several days of search, they were able to locate the elephant in the middle of the thick forest. It was distressful to watch the sight of the poor elephant who'd gotten injuries all over its body. Some wounds have formed into a minor abscess. These are fresh wounds in the left leg, front legs too. They were ulcerated wounds in the ear area. Those wounds have festered badly with oozing pus. This shows signs of serious infection. After locating the elephant, the team started preparing anesthetic drugs to sedate the elephant. Sedation would allow them to inspect the elephant thoroughly and give necessary treatments without any risk. This precaution is compulsory, since they are going to deal with a wild elephant. There is a risk of being assailed by the threatening wild elephants, especially when they're in pain. The officers risk their lives to save the treasured elephants. After the sedation, the elephant hobbled few meters and stood steadily between trees. The officers leapt into action. The thick tree cover in the forest made the operation more arduous. The veterinary surgeon inspected the wound and ascertained that this has been caused by disastrous trap gun. These barbaric trap guns are locally made, smooth-bore, long-barreled, muzzle-loading firearm with a victim-activated simple trigger mechanism. It's mainly used to protect crops and livestock from the potential harm by wild animals. Trap guns are mounted horizontally on pegs of sticks fixed to the ground. Miscellaneous metal pieces are used as ammunition. A small metal container filled with powdered matchstick heads and firecrackers, covered by the striker's surface of the matchstick box, is used as the percussion cap. A metal hammer is set to hit the percussion cap. Through a lever mechanism, the hammer is kept under tension. The lever mechanism is connected to a trigger cord which runs across the animal's path. The first passerby, a human being or wild animal, who accidentally trips the trigger and activates the trigger mechanism is critically injured. Trap guns are frequently set along forest paths to kill animals such as axis deer and wild boar. There were penetrating wounds in the ear area, which showed signs of serious infection with purulent exudates and flies hovering around. First, painkillers and anti-inflammatory medication were administered in the elephant's body to ease the pain from grievous injuries. One officer started cleaning and treating the injured front leg. They had to expedite the operation and finish initial treatments before the elephant regained its consciousness. The exudates and necrotic tissues in the ear wounds were carefully removed. The remaining ammunition that penetrated into the flesh were also removed. The wounds were flushed with hydrogen peroxide and wiped with cotton swabs. The wounds were flushed with hydrogen peroxide and thoroughly cleaned the wounds. Then the wounds were rinsed with saline solution until the hydrogen peroxide is cleared away. Thereby, they saved the elephant's life from immediate danger, but they have a long way to go. Antibiotics were administered intramuscularly to boost the immunity of the elephant to heal the injuries. Once the antibiotics are injected, they're blended with the bloodstream and expedite the wound healing and regrowth of tissues by boosting the immunity system. Antibiotic treatment would also be helpful in prevent further infection through the wounds and prevent persisting infections to be spared into the inner body parts. Preventing infections through the wounds is extremely important because infected wounds can turn to lead to systematic infections that are fatal to the elephant. Elephant is the largest herbivorous animal in the world, which is now listed as critically endangered species. No matter how big the elephants are in size, they become completely miserable and helpless in the face of vicious human activities. This gentle giant was fortunate to find a group of saviors. They saved the life of the elephant from immediate danger. The veterinary surgeon decided that the elephant will need several days of treatment continuously. This is another treatment mission to save innocent elephants suffering from grievous injuries from horrific trap guns set by the evil hunters. Forest range officers had seen this elephant limping in the forest and had alerted the wildlife officials. As soon as they got the message, a team led by wildlife officers and veterinary officers were sent to the location along with several villagers. After a search of several days, the elephant was located. At the time we reached the location, the elephant was found in a critical condition due to the injury sustained on its front left leg. The elephant had to be calmed down and sedated prior to the inspection of the injuries and treatment. The elephant safely landed on a recumbent position. The officers further retained the elephant from ropes as a safety precaution. There were some cases reported earlier that few officers has to sacrifice their lives during the treatment operations for wild elephants. Dealing with wild elephants is extremely dangerous, especially when they're in pain. First, painkiller was injected intramuscularly to alleviate the pain caused by the injuries. Then the veterinary surgeon started inspecting the injury. The wounds have been festered. The officials believe that the elephant had been hit by a trap gun and had been injured for about 2 weeks. The wounds seemed to have been infected. The wounded area was carefully wiped and cleaned using sterile cotton swabs and disinfecting agents. Pus dripping copiously from the festered wound. Accumulated pus was drained. Deep sedated wounds were opened to facilitate proper drainage of exudates and removal of decayed tissues. The necrotic tissues and remaining bullet particles were removed from the wound. Long-acting antibiotics were injected to the wound site to boost the immunity to expedite the healing process. Multivitamins and anti-inflammatory drugs were also administered. The wounded area was further cleaned with saline solution and again wiped with cotton swabs. After drying the wound, medication was applied to the wound. All the wounds were externally smeared with antiseptic spray. There were some other minor injuries in other parts of the body, too. The baby elephant is still hanging around the mother. The elephant was soon back on its feet after the sedation is reversed with revival drug. The elephant was treated regularly once a week over 2 months. The elephant is now recovering well following the treatment. She was found rejoined with the herd after the healing wounds. Since Aristotle and long before, people who have been privileged to spend time observing and interacting with elephants have expressed similar sentiments. They've been trained for thousands of years to do everything from play soccer to destroy the enemy on the battlefield. They were the tanks of the ancient world and the front end loaders and the tractors. Their size and strength are, of course, second to none. There are many tales and legends told about elephants, both long ago and today, in many different languages and among very different cultures. What's so telling about these stories is that they don't usually go on about their incredible size and strength, because that's obvious. What they all eagerly tell is of their great intelligence, formidable memories, and complex nature of these gentle giants. Now, I have to be honest and say that when people ask me how clever a particular animal, such as a lion for example, is, I usually say a lion is a genius at being a lion. What I'm trying to say is that every animal has evolved to perfectly fit its niche and may be very dumb at doing what doesn't benefit it, and very clever at doing what does. However, when someone asks me about elephants, I get very excited, and my little story about all animals being geniuses goes out the window. I immediately start comparing them to us. Here's why. Elephants help maintain forest and savanna ecosystems for other species and are integrally tied to rich biodiversity. Elephants are important ecosystem engineers. They make pathways in dense forested habitat that allow passage for other animals. Elephants are the strong pillars of our fragile ecosystem. They're keystone species, playing an important role in maintaining the biodiversity of the ecosystems in which they and we live. They're also a tourism magnet, attracting funding that helps protect wilderness areas. During the dry season, elephants use their tusks to dig for water. This not only allows the elephants to survive in dry environments and when droughts strike, but also provides water for other animals that share harsh habitats. When forest elephants eat, they create gaps in the vegetation. These gaps allow new plants to grow and create pathways for other smaller animals to use. They are also one of the major ways in which trees disperse their seeds. Some species rely entirely upon elephants for seed dispersal. Wherever they live, elephants leave dung that is full of seeds from the many plants they eat. When this dung is deposited, the seeds are sown and grown into new grasses, bushes, and trees, boosting the health of the ecosystem.
Thanks for watching. Please like and share the video in social networks. We'll be right back to you as fast as we can.